like, and I think that that's kind of important. You know what I'm saying? Just so you guys know, the show is live. Um, to everyone that's tuning in, you know what I'm saying? Welcome to the Code Talk Coffee and Blunts, the the evening show, whichever version of you used to catching. It's really just a this is the solution only platform for accountable masculinity. You know what I'm saying? And today's topic is what's the social contract? What is the social contract between men? You know, and we are going to break this thing down and you know what I'm saying, actually have a good discussion. Stay tuned. Good afternoon and welcome to a special edition of the Code Talk Evening Show. I'm your host, Victor Vinciant, and I have with me today uh, my boy Chris from across the table and my man Zachary Hall and my other brother Troy Reddick. We're going to get into a conversation today about what's the social contract between men. Like, we have a lot of disconnects. I always say men have code, and I really mean that because there's some things that men just understand with each other that they don't require a lot of conversation with. You know what I'm saying? Code is that statement in itself. It lets you know that there's a code of understanding amongst men that only men are gonna get. So when you break that thing down, a lot of men gonna understand stuff across the spectrum. And because of that, the reality is that there's some gaps. We don't know everything. Men don't understand every single thing about each other. You know what I'm saying? There's too many backgrounds. You got men that's raised with and without their father, raised by their grandmothers, raised by their uncles, raised by their older brothers, raised by their sisters, raised by multiple women, raised in houses without a mother or a father. Sometimes they foster homes. Sometimes the variation is not one or the other. There's a bunch of different variations of it. So in those different variations, one of the things that I found hard to be able to connect was the social contract between men in their 40s and men in their late 20s going into their early 30s, and what they relate to and what they disagree with and things of that nature. So I want to start with the question of what is the social contract between men? And the social contract between men of said separate generations, we have different representatives for that. So to my left on your screen is my man Chris from across the table with Chris from McClellan, the guy that's trying to understand, that's making the transition from being the angry man to the guy that's trying to understand. And I got my latest addition to the panel, representing the 29 and below crowd. It's my man Zachary Hall. We've been in great conversation about this particular topic, so I felt like it was, you know what I'm saying, solid enough to bring to the panel. And then I got my other guy in the back, you know what I'm saying, none other than Mr. Troy Reddick. He back there barbecuing and stuff and having some technical issues. But we're gonna get this conversation going, man. So gents, I'd like to hear from Zachary first, since and nobody's a stranger here on this panel. So what do you think the social contract is between men based on your life as a 29-year-old man?
You guys can hear me? All right. As far as the social contract between like people of my generation and you have like the older men, it's basically it's, it's a lot of issues at first, and I don't want to like nitpick on everything. It's just communication. It's like it's like the older generation. There's a problem with like they don't take information or any of, I can't say advice. It's just like they won't take any information from a younger generation of men. So you have certain people. It's like, oh, I've been there, done that. My experience is way over you right now. You didn't talk to this female or that female. It's just certain things that, like, I guess they say experience trumps just like information, or I'll say like it's basically like the best example I can give is like when you like your child now, like your child's in high school and you've been in school, high school also, but you've been in school in 1970. I'm in school in like 2010. Like the information is totally different. We learn math different. It's like all that kind of information. We learn everything different. So your method won't work on 2010 math or anything nowadays. So and like I feel like we just need to communicate more. So like if they can take like pointers from us, like, hey, I understand you learned your math and algebra this way, but like today they teach it this way. So like it's just communication. Like it's just grown folks just need to know, like, hey man, it's different nowadays. Like the music, everything's different. The music is different. You have the women are different. I mean, that's one thing. Like the background's different. Back for example, it's not, I don't know about by heart, but like if anything did change, there's more single mothers nowadays than it is before. So if it's the same, that means the attitude didn't change. So I don't want to get into like numbers on like factual numbers, but since it's always been a single parent issue in the black community, the issue will be like attitude and perception of it nowadays. The perception change. So if that didn't change, the perception changed. So like, and the old folks can give us pointers, and we're just not going to take it. Like, hey man, and we're like, man, you haven't been through what I've been through, bro. It's different when you. It's just a miscommunication between everything. So like, we just need grown men talking to men, mostly. So like, younger men need to talk to older men, and older men need to talk to younger men, and like we need to be like clear about the backgrounds, because like it's more like I believe we can reach each other if you got a dude that's in the field who did what you did. He's more reachable than like a dude who's never been in the field. He's only book smart. He never been in the streets, just stuff like that. Like we got to get like certain people in the same environment who made it out. So like if you're successful now, or you doing it big, or you made it out a situation where I'm in, like I need to talk to you. Like, hey, what did you do? And like what, like how did I get out of this situation? And like things like that. I mean, that's about it right now. Like far as I could think of, it's just communication. Like we have to like find men who's been doing what we did, because nowadays, like my generation below, we feel like, man, ain't nobody done this before. Like and like cause there's no fathers in the home. Like the uncles they're out living, doing their thing. They taking care of their families. You got your mentors. Your mentor can do so much, but like we just need like-minded people. I mean, as far as I could tell nowadays, your best bet is like friends and people who you go to work with nowadays. And like we don't really talk to them people. To be honest with you, we go to work, get our money, go home, and talk to our girl. So I mean, and then the female too. So like your female got to be on point too. So like if you don't got a female who down for you, you might not make it nowadays. I mean, these females nowadays, they want one thing. So I mean, that's all I got for now.
Everything you said, I said last week
Mm,
because I'm a product of that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm a product of not having a solid dude in the house
mm-hmm,
and not having solid dudes around me. And I had to go outside of
mm-hmm,
my environment to find that. You understand what I'm saying? And I
mm-hmm,
also understand you saying that the old heads need to talk to the youngest and the youngest need to talk to the old heads. And the old heads aren't being as receptive and they're actually dismissing the younger generation's experiences because they're old. You understand what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? So yeah, I get it. I completely get it. And I said this last week. The old heads need to actually come down to the youngest level. because you said something that made sense. The youngers are saying that they're doing stuff that has never been done before, because in this technological age, they are doing things that have never been done before, or they're doing things that have been done but in a different, more technical manner.
Yeah.
And we're used to working with our hands. We're not used to working with a piece of electronics in our hand. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, I get it, and I've been saying it for a while. The old heads need to come down to the youngest level, because everything is different, like everything. I kind of I can understand you not wanting to dive into the numbers, because I used to work in the system, so I kind of know them. So I can understand that side of it too.
Yeah.
The social contract conversation, like we understand what it's all about. It's huge miscommunication. Uh, some of it is, I think, a lot of it is, it's a lot of intellectual superiority, illusory superiority. Everybody thinking they better than somebody. You know what I'm saying? There's some youngins that think that they better than the old people, and there's some old people that don't think that the youngest, you know what I'm saying, got any business talking to them. Whether those words apply to you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like, there's a huge disconnect in terms of there's a huge misinterpretation of what respect is for either side,
Mm-hmm.
or disregard, or you know what I'm saying, there's something that's just absolutely dismissive. You may encounter like where people actually respect you enough to tell you that, to even have a conversation with you, and then they tell you at the same time, how come you didn't ask somebody? You know what I'm saying? But every time you ask somebody talking to you crazy and being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
how long you expected to endure that for somebody, from someone that you're not even related to? Not saying that it's even okay if you related to somebody that's disrespectful to you, but you definitely not finna go outside the house seeking it if every couple people you talk to reject you crazy. You know what I'm saying? When it gets down to it. So I think one of the questions is like, in the process of what it takes to fix it, what do you, Chris, since you're the older guy in this conversation compared to Zach, how are you prepared to step into his space, into his generation space, to give them information? You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, the older guys got to step down, right? Got to step from where they are, and get down into the weeds with the younger men. And Zach, how are you going to make your generation more receptive to men that are older than you?
You asked me how I'm
Yeah,
in
how
what
would
way
you?
am I going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go.
In what way are you going to step forward, and what way are you going to step forward, Zach?
I
Okay.
have to,
All right.
as an older man, I got to step forward with an open mind, because I'm not experiencing none of the stuff that these youngers are experiencing. And I can't tell them that their experience isn't valid just because I haven't experienced it. I got to go in with an open mind and an open ear, and actually listen to these young boys. You understand what I'm saying? That's imperative. I have to listen to them. I have to listen to them to try to get where they're coming from before I can give them any kind of advice. I can't just go in and give unsolicited advice just because I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't. I am not that arrogant. I am not that arrogant. I'm sorry. And the only reason that I'm thinking like this is because it's something that I never had. And I know that a lot of kids out there are missing this, which is why it's Grand Theft Auto outside right now, because these kids don't have nobody
Literally.
to talk to, and they got to find a way to release what's in them, because they can't go to the people that they trust. I have to go into it with an open mind. That's why and to be real, honestly, I would really love to hear what you have to say, because that's where it starts. We have to be willing to know what you are going through before we can do anything.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like, all right, for us, younger generation, I mean, we have to humble ourselves. So that's one thing. Cause like, I mean, I'm 29. So like, when I see an old head, since I'm old school at that, cause my background's a little bit different. So I really like my background is more like I respect older people. So like I'm not
We
gonna
That's
just
how we all were taught.
yeah, I'm not gonna blatant disrespect somebody. So like then you have people who grew up like in single parent homes. They're very disrespectful. So the only way you can reach them if you grew up like them, or if you do what they do, or like you gotta have a lot of similarities to even connect with somebody anyway. But with them, it's a little bit harder. So as far as like, but I do knows one thing they do follow men. I mean, that's cause that's all they're yearning for. Like a lot of like our young men, they do follow a lot of men. So I do have a lot of friends, like all my friends, they're from single mother household, all of them. And like they grew up like you and like they tell me things and it's like insane. They tell me like things that's going on and I'm like, yo, like
It's
have you
hard to understand it.
it's like I've been like I just want to share this. I have one friend. He called me and just asked me like questions like, "Hey, how do you put air in a tire?" I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like I it was so off. I didn't know how to explain it, but I did best I can. Like, hey man, the air thing, you put it in the tire stem, and like your PSI tires usually is 32 PSI. I mean, I know this because like my background with men, they're all married and everything's like that. And like I seen men working, man. My grandpa works, my dad works, my uncle works. Like I got five uncles and like I seen working men and they work with their hands. I mean, my dad fixes cars. I'm good with cars. I mean, just basic like man stuff. So I'm like, you won't see me on the side of the road with my girl waiting on roadside assistance. Like, yo, I'm changing the tire. Like I already know what's wrong. Like, hey, yo, let's get out and fix this. So I see like young men. Like I see why people say like, hey, y'all generation messed up. We can't fix y'all. And like, if you can't fix this generation, let's try for the next one. Then y'all gonna give up on them. If you're gonna give up between ages like 20 and if I'm 29 right now, so I would say what you got what 20 to 29. If you give up on us, you have the other guys who are teenagers and kids right now and children. At least we could work with them because they haven't been out there yet. They're not grown yet. They still with their parents. They're still looking for mentors. They're looking for their dad or uncle to show them something, anything. I mean, even me, like I can't talk to people my age. I'm like, yo, I mean, y'all got it twisted. Yeah, the friends I do have, I mean, we're off and on because I get on the ass. Like I'm very direct with them. Like, yo, man, like we just chilling playing games. We did it too long. Like, bro, we ain't doing this no more. Like I'm done with this video game stuff. Let's go out and let's do something. And my friend like, man, you tripping, bro? You tripping? Like, why we can't just chill? Like, ain't nothing wrong with chilling, man. We chilling too much. Like, let's get out and do something. Like, just simple stuff. Like, let's go out and talk to females. Like, we can't just be playing games on Madden all day long. We're not gonna do that. I'm finna go. I mean, and then it's just balance. I mean, like to reach us, yeah, basically, I'm just like to reach somebody in my generation, you you gotta share a similar interest. So if you old, like hey, I know the cats these days, they play games. I mean, they go out to the mall, whatever. I mean, you can meet us at the park playing basketball. I mean, just simple stuff. I mean, if you got a lot of females, are you flashy? They're gonna really, really attract to you. So like, it's just random stuff. I mean, it's just random stuff. I mean, that's about all I can think about. But like, it's hard. It's hard.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad
Hmm.
you said that because, like I said, man, we have to come down to their level.
Hmm.
We have to come down to y'all level, and I'm not saying it like y'all are inferior. You
Hmm.
understand what I'm saying? It's not a I'm above you kind of thing. When I say that, I'm saying our generation needs to adapt to the new generation so that way this gap can be somewhat closed. And the only way to do that is to appeal what y'all are doing. Appeal to what y'all are doing or appeal to something that y'all got going on that y'all are passionate about, but try to divert that passion into something besides, like you said, sitting in front of a TV playing video games or something like that. Like get out in the world. But that I don't know, man. I
The
don't know.
frustrating part, I believe, what frustrates me the most about like the older generation is like the women are very different. So when they're like their relationship with men in the old days, you can kind of see it. It's like I'll say it's more togetherness, and now you don't have a togetherness. You have people being led by the woman. So like you don't have the male input, so it's not balanced. You have more female led males than like more like my dad was here, my uncle was here, or even like dudes who's like, hey, I ain't have my mama. Like I mean, you don't meet guys who've been raised by their dads. You don't meet guys who've been raised by both parents. You just meet guys who've been raised by the mom. So like, and the issue is like sometimes you don't want to help them because it's dangerous. It's like I mean,
Oh,
you gotta teach, you gotta teach men to how to talk to men now because like you say one thing, they want to fight, they want to get in their feelings. So like sometimes you just and like since I'm very, very like, see, put it this way, I have no sympathy towards men. Even if you did grow up with your mom, I feel like, bro, it's so hard. It's hard enough to be a man. It's hard enough to like keep a structure over your head, keep a foundation over your head. It's hard enough to like keep a girl anyway. Like do one thing wrong, your girl's like, hey, like, why you not taking me out? Stuff like just like, why you not doing this? Like, why you not doing that? It's a constant struggle to like stay masculine. So like even sometimes I just want to like, man, I'm just gonna sit around play video games, go to work. I don't like forget all the females, finna like make money and like I'm just gonna just relax, forget everything. Like sometimes it's hard, and like then you got guys who just can cave in easy because they've been raised by a female. So it's like, you know what? They are automatically going like, man, I don't gotta do nothing. I'm just going back to my mama house. I can't do that. I mean, I can, but I can't because I never did. Like when I left 18, I never went back. So I'm like, I can't go back. So like, I feel less of a man if I go back. And my dad told me like, man, you the only one who never came back. Everybody else came back. And like, yeah, they're my sisters. I guess they're supposed to come back, but I never came back. And then like, I tell dudes like, hey, it's like put it this way, like even though my dad has a generation where like they went with women and like they went with women who had kids and it was okay. Like, you should have a kid, man. So what, man? Because the music is different. Nowadays, the perception of it is wrong. The perception totally changed. There's like, why would I do that if I could do this and get money and just have fun? So it's like it's too much fun. I go lie, it's too much fun nowadays. And the older generation could tell us, and they don't tell us because the older generation have a problem. Like, hey man, if I were you, and you don't got this, you don't got that, man, just go have fun. I heard that a lot from the older generation. Man, you don't got no kids, right? Go have fun, bro. You don't need to be like with no female right now. You can have 5 females. Why have five? And I
I
took
hear
that.
that now because I don't have any children. I hear that
Yeah,
now.
that's crazy. And like,
And I'm 43.
and I took that advice early on, and so like it's crazy because my body count is crazy. So I don't get into that, but my body count was like way up there. So I'm like, it gets boring now. Now you want to like now I want to be an old head. I'm just gonna give me a chicken and calm down now. And now it's like, but dad still telling me, but you 29, bro. Like, do what you gotta do. Go now. I'm like, now I want to travel. Personally, I want to travel. Personally, like travel outside the United States. I've been in a few states already, and like let me just travel outside. So I'm like, but like in that, what I'm saying is, y'all can give us better advice. Like the best advice you can give a man with no kids is to focus and be disciplined. Like, hey man, what do you know? Do you have a skill? You have a trade? I like, bro, what are you interested in? I mean, whatever you're interested in, learn how to make money doing that. Like, for example, like I tell, like I'm 29, I tell all kids like 15, 16, 17 or below, like, bro, what do you like doing? Like playing basketball? All right, man, don't quit. Keep playing. Like go to a league, a summer league, like any kind of league you can get into. They like playing video games. You can make money playing video games. So it's my job to find out how can I get money in these men pocket without relying on a female. Because I mean, if you don't got no money, you're gonna be like, I'm not saying money's more important because you just need skills to get an income so you don't have to rely on the female. I don't think. I don't think. I mean, anybody who's been through that know how it feels when you rely on a female. You feel less than a man. You feel powerless. You feel emasculated. So like a lot of men who go to the like, oh, don't take care of their children, it's because they didn't see a way to like make income. A lot of dudes like, man, I just couldn't do it, man. I don't know what to do. I ain't had no job. My girl is pregnant. And like it's crazy. A lot of men who leave females who are pregnant and they become deadbeat dads or don't take care of the children at all, they were there for the whole pregnancy. It's when the baby actually comes out. Majority of men, they leave when the baby actually comes out and it hits home like, damn, I can't even buy milk. So what you gonna do? We finna go missing. I know this because like when I struggle sometimes because like I gotta pay rent and everything. When I struggle, I kind of like withdraw from females. Like I don't want to talk to you right now. Like I didn't get my money up. Like my car broke down. I ain't talking to you. I'm down to one car now. I used to have two. I don't want to talk to nobody. We actually like seclude ourselves from social anything social. We don't want to talk to nobody when we're down. So imagine if a man have a child, and he doesn't have any kind of income, no ways to get money. He don't even know how to get a job. He been raised by his mom. His mom been calling him his whole life. Like you got moms who raising their daughters like men. Are you gonna get out there? You don't need a man. You finna get a job. You finna do this. Get out my house when you're 18. How about you kick your son out when you're 18? Like, how about that? Kick your son out when he's 18.
Now,
If he come
see,
back, he might come back, but kick him out.
I don't know about that, and here's why. You can't unless you have
hmm
to keep it real. I don't believe in kicking your son or your daughter out when they're 18 because they don't know what the hell they doing. Like they don't. We're not in
hmm
Greece. Like we can't. We're not Spartans. We can't just our son is 7 and then send him out into the forest. And then if he come back, he come back. If he don't, he's just food for the wolves. Like
yeah.
we can't do that, man. I think it should start with like you said, man. We should all men. I believe all men have a talent. All men have a something that they can do, that they
hmm
can use to go get some bread or to get a steady income. I just believe that the lessons should be taught before that even happens. Like before your son or daughter graduates high school, they should at least have the life skills to take care of themselves. You understand what I'm saying? That it should start early, and maybe after maybe a year or two after high school, they stay at home, stack some bread, and then you can send them on their way. You understand what I'm saying? Give them like a foundation.
The question though, who's going to teach them that if they're around their mom? A woman naturally looks for a provider, so she can't even teach her daughter how to be a provider. I mean, so how can a woman do
I have no idea
it?
because
You see,
I don't know.
women are programmed to. All right, I'm finna be in daddy mode right now. I mean, I feel like they get a maternal, being maternal and nurturing is not the same thing, and they get maternal mixed up with being a provider and being masculine. It's totally different. It's masculine, being maternal, and being nurturing. So your child falls down, and you're like, "Hey, you're gonna be okay. Like, get up. I'm gonna help you out and get bandaged." That's being nurturing. Maternal, like I'm gonna make sure my kids make it to 18. I'm gonna protect them. That's being maternal. That's like motherly instincts. That's being the mother. So when your mother's like, like for example, when you get in trouble at school, your mom always said, "Well, my baby's an angel. He didn't do it." That's not nurturing you. That's being maternal. She's protecting you. And then when she have to pay bills, she's actually surviving. All that is not being masculine. All that is not being fatherly. All that is really not being masculine at all. And yeah, I mean, moms are more aggressive towards their children because how do you instill fear in the child if you're not a man? A man can just, hey, do it again. Men, put it this way, my dad discipline versus my mom discipline. My dad discipline like nature does. He'll wait till you mess up, then he'll like spank you. My mom will actually she her discipline. She does it in basically like she's being maternal or she's being like she does it in a nurturing way. She'll watch you do it wrong. She'll see you do it wrong. Talk to you about when you do it wrong, then spank you. Like, man, you just messed it up. You messed up. You took away the whole learning process on me. Why I shouldn't touch the stove when it's hot. My dad said, "Hey, don't touch the stove when it's hot. I'm gonna touch it. See that? Your hand got burnt." My mom not gonna let me touch the stove. So guess what? I want to touch the stove because I never touched the stove. And so how can a woman get their son to like how can a woman help their son?
I get it because I'm a product of it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I had to leave. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't it was more along the lines of I was forced out. You understand what I'm saying? Like I didn't have a choice but to leave because she couldn't teach me what I needed to know. And a lot of us have an unhealthy relationship with our mothers, to keep it real. A lot of us have an unhealthy relationship with our mothers. I did have a man in the house, but he was the biggest piece of trash that I ever saw in my life. Like, and even he told me 18 in a day without teaching me what it was like to be what I needed to know as a man. You understand what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying as far as women not being able to teach men how to actually be men. I get that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, this is the part where I learned because I genuinely don't know. And the way that I had to do it was toxic as hell. I wouldn't wish it on nobody. You understand what I'm saying? I wouldn't wish the way that I had to leave on anybody because if let me tell you how unhealthy it was. It felt like I was breaking up with a girl. You understand what I'm saying? It felt like I was breaking up with a girl leaving my mama. I'm not supposed to think like that about my mama. Are you kidding me? That's when I knew I had to go. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Like I was the son husband
I want to
until she got a man, and then I was until I got her until she got a man, and my child support ran out. Then I was just
how did you
there.
feel? How did you feel when she like got him in? Because
I
like,
was upset.
I feel like I'm sorry. I feel like if you were to like explain all that, then like the younger generation, they do feel that way too,
Yeah,
and nobody talks to them about that.
I was accepted to it until he turned. I was accepted to it until he turned out to be a piece of trash.
Mm,
Like his own kids don't even rock with him.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? 4 out of his 6 kids moved out of state to get away from him.
damn.
2 of them live in the same city, and none of them were around until like his last couple of. I take that back. One of them wasn't around. The youngest one was around, but that was only because she had 2 daughters, and she knew my mom would do anything in the world for those 2 little girls. So she was only around because my mama was there. They didn't give a shit about him. When he passed away, that was the only time we actually saw all of them together, except for the oldest one. The oldest one didn't even show up, and I left like 15 minutes into the funeral because I didn't give a fuck. Like, I'm not about to sit around here crying about this dude. He was the biggest piece of garbage I have ever seen in my life, ever. And you want me to sit around here and be fake? Get out of here. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I was really, really accepted to it because I'm like, okay, okay. I've been asking for this. My biological father really didn't want anything to do with me. So you know what I'm saying? So I actually have somebody that can teach me something that's in the house. I had my uncles, I had my godfather, but he was in the house. And he didn't teach me nothing. He didn't he actually, you know what? I take that back. He taught me everything in reverse because I'm reverse engineering how he used to treat people and doing the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I
So
have I watched another question. What's the difference between I know I mean I always grew up around it. Like I know how it feels to have a man in the house, like a father. What's the difference between not having the man in the house first, then somebody coming in the house? Like what's different? Like I know like you said, I know it was bad if they're for example, was it bad in was it always bad like straight from the beginning, straight from the start?
nah, it wasn't bad until they got married.
All right, so like from that instance, like just the good part, and then as it got bad, but
and
like
and
what's the
even and even
difference?
then and even then I could still see little bits and pieces of it because he used to
Mm,
treat my older stepbrother like he was garbage too, and that
mm,
guy, that my older stepbrother came out of his loins. But I was 13, 14. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's doing something wrong or something like that. It was trash, to keep it real. And to keep it real, seeing that is why I can understand why men don't want to date women with children.
Mm-hmm.
I can completely understand it. I don't condone it, but I also don't condemn it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I completely understand.
That makes sense.
For real.
So the you see how complex this problem is when you really start like unpacking and just really having regular conversation about it. It's just not easy to set the set the foundation where young men feel comfortable with asking the older men for advice, and then the older men don't feel comfortable feeling forthcoming about advice because nobody's really addressed the trauma that they've been raised with. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
why I hate the whole get over it, move on type conversation. It's like, okay, you want me to get over it. What's the it that I'm getting over?
What's the
Why
it?
can't we address the it? You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? Shut up.
It, I mean, like when you say like, what's the it? Because like it's like the pain. Like I mean, when the pain's like, is the pain? First of all, are you still alive? And like there's, it's so much harder to keep going. And when you hold that in, it's like it's like neglect. 1 week of neglect can cost 10 years of repair. So like you're neglecting yourself when you're not getting over it. When you let it go, or you release it, or do anything, like, oh, okay, now I can live and tackle this. That's the it.
Now, see, I get that part of it.
Yeah.
I get the whole not letting it hold you back because I got over that 15 years ago. But
Hmm.
still, there's still shit that needs to be addressed. Like, I need to know why this happened because that's a piece that I just don't know. No, it's not controlling my life. Yes, I'm still
Hmm.
pissed off about it, but that anger drives me to do different. You understand what I'm saying? So I kind of use that anger and redirect it. That's why I'm so forthcoming with what I say. I don't have a
Hmm.
problem talking about this because a lot of us feel like this. This is the majority of the boys out here. You understand what I'm saying? They all feel like this. They just feel like they can't talk about it.
Hmm.
Now, when I say when I say the it, I mean that in general. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I don't mean just specifically me. I'm not personalizing this. I'm just speaking in general because I hear a lot of guys say get over it, move on, but it's like why can't we address it and then move on? Because she's still my mama. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I still got to find a way to love this woman no matter how she treated me. I still got to find a way to love this woman because she's the only mama I got.
That's the
So why can't
see.
I address it?
That's the difference between me and you right there. That's the main difference. When you said she's still my mom, I my thing is this: my mom has a husband. I love her. We talk. She give me advice, but like I like yo, she got a husband. So like she don't ask. She asks me for certain things. I be like, why don't I ask her husband? I'm like, wait, and like I do give her gifts. Like I give her gifts and everything, but it's not as much as like somebody who grew up with a mom. Like, hey mom, like happy Valentine's Day gift, birthday gift, Thanksgiving. I don't do none of that. I'm not even a holiday type person. It's
Me neither.
Christmas. It's
Me neither.
Christmas, birthday. That's it. Don't, because like she already know better. Don't Valentine's Day. I mean, I gotta take care of. I mean, I gotta give a girlfriend Valentine's Day. That's not no mom holiday. I mean, I do call her like, "Hey, mom, you go out to eat sometimes." That's very, very, very sparingly. Cause I get her to understand, like, mom, like you understand, like I let her know that we are adults. She's no longer like my mom. Mom, dad doesn't do it no at all. My mom still tries to be a parent. She's still trying to like, and I tell her like,
Dude, you
mom,
speak in my life.
yeah, I like mom. You're not. So I told her
And I'm in
like,
my
look,
40s and she's still
yeah.
trying to be
I
mama.
don't need you. I said I do not need you to a parent. I only know parents. I like we like. I feel like this. I say like when you're young, you need a parent. That's like what from birth all the way to 12. From 13 to 18, you need a coach, and from oh, when you feel like you're grown, I don't care if it's like 20, 21, 25. Because people say, yo, you 18, you can't do that. You can't even do that when you're 21. So I'll say from 13 until 21, you need a friend. So your mom should be in friend mode. And friends, what do friends do? Friends give better advice than parents. Because friends are very like, hey, I know what you're going through. I see what you're going through. And I ain't going to overstep my boundaries. I'm just a friend.
Can I say something right there?
Yeah.
Not maybe not necessarily a friend, but you're expecting more mentorship from your mother as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
More valued
More,
counsel.
more value counsel. I like
Mm-hmm.
that. I like that. Hey
Yeah,
Troy,
that's
you
real.
ready to come up?
Just
I'm
a second.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think you expect more from people that are your senior. You don't need your diaper changed. You
Yeah.
don't need nobody to put a band-aid on your knee. You need more more of her insight.
In the
You know what I'm saying?
person in parent mode,
Yeah.
they don't know that. They keep doing what you just said. They want to change the diaper, put band-aids on you. They want to
Yeah.
call you and like, hey, you okay? They're like, yeah, I'm okay. You didn't talk to me in 3 weeks. Everything's okay. I'm alive and living. Like, yo, I got bills to pay. Just like you got bills to pay.
Right. Did
I'm
you get a
not,
phone call saying that my apartment was on fire? Did you get did my job use the emergency contact saying that something happened to me?
yeah,
No. Get out the way. I say this all the time, man. Get out the
yeah.
way.
Get out the way.
Get out the way.
So
Move.
So
my thing is this though, because you said like, what's the why? What's the why? Why do you feel like your mom is doing that?
She still won't be honest with me to this day.
Mm.
She still won't be honest with me to this day. For real.
Because I have three sisters. I'm the only boy. So like my oldest is a single mother. My youngest got divorced. So now she's a single mother. She got married early. She got married. She's younger than me. I'm 29. She just turned 28. So her
Mm,
birthday was December. So she was 27. So basically she's still 27. She's 27. She's 28
yeah.
in like a month now. But case be point, she got married and got divorced. Now she's a single mother. So like they tell me things like, "Hey, it's hard. I mean, they can't put it this way. There are dudes they want, and there are dudes they can't get. So like, and when I feel like since they can't get what they want, they always got you for the fallback on. You're a fallback, like, but you're not a husband. I mean, you can't lay in the bed with your mom. I mean, that's incest. You can't do incest with your mom. But your mom's like, oh, that's my Well, we said something husband. What's that term you said
Son
earlier?
husband. It's
Son
it's a
husband.
it's a new term that's coined for moms who groom their kids to be
Hmm.
like the dude they want instead of going out to get the dude they want.
Yeah, because I feel like because like a lot of mothers told me they had this thing called mom guilt. I mean, is it real? I don't know if it's real.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, so you
Yes, it
said it.
is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. But it's toxic.
Hmm.
It is a very toxic thing because they try to do the things that they look back on and missed out on trying to survive
Hmm.
later on in your life, and you don't need it, or you resent them to the point that even if they do have a point, you don't
Hmm.
want nothing to do with them no way.
And my friend, back to my friend, his name is Herman. So like, I can say his name because he's not even in the podcast anyway. He probably won't see this. His name's Herman. But what he said, what he said was this. He called me like, Zach, bro, I gotta talk to you. So what happened, bro? I said, I cursed my mom out. I like, so like, whatever, man. You mom always going at it. He's like, nah, bro. I said, what do you say then? Like, so, all right, man, just lay it on me. I said, bro, she was talking to me like I was her husband, and I got pissed off. So like, I cursed her out. He said, yo. Stop talking to me like I'm stop talking to me like I'm your husband, bro. Like stop it. He hung up and blocked her. He said, I ain't talked to her. And like he talked to her now, but it's like, yo, you all right? Yeah, I'm all right, cool. Hang up. So like back to like my generation, every guy is my friend who had a single mother, they were homeless at one point. They became homeless. They were like, hey, I need a place to stay. Hey, like, yo, let me stay here and get a job. Let me get my money up. I mean, every dude. I mean, it's crazy. I have a friend right now. He left his doggone wife house because I mean he went with a Haitian. Their family didn't like him. He was American, like
Mm.
he ain't nothing. Like he left. The situation got bad. Like yo, the family don't like me. They stay with the family because Haitians have more unity than the African Americans.
Yeah, they understand. They get it. They understand
So
that
like,
they need to be taught before you just throw your children into the wall. Throw your children
so
into the
like,
wall.
and back to like back to your like you say, why is this happening? Like, I understand. Come on, me and my cousin had a conversation yesterday. He said black people, I mean African Americans, black people, whatever, we're the only people who does things solo. You say he said we should be like the Latinos and the Spanish people. I like they they're okay with going to work, get a $15 hour job, $12 hour job because they're like, okay, I get $12 hours, my husband get $20 an hour, 12 plus 20, that's 32. And my son, he's still in the house, he makes $15 an hour. You add that 15, and now all together your family making $100 an hour.
That's
But
a
we don't.
six-figure house when
That's a
everybody work
six
together.
figure house where everybody work together. And black people, what do we do? When I get 18, I'm gonna leave. So now you're gonna pay 100% of the bills where you could have been paying 20% of your mama's bills. Y'all save up, got a bigger house. Now y'all got a 8 bedroom, 6 bathroom house, and your mom good. She don't got to work no more because we've been working together so long. I mean, my dad. I mean, my parents still got to go to work. They shouldn't be working now, but
My mom retired just to go back to work.
see,
My aunt retired just to go back to work. You understand what? And
we
to
have
go
no unity.
full time. Like what?
There's no unity. There's no unity at all.
This is and do you see how simple that sounded?
Hmm.
I got $15 an hour. You got $12 an hour. My son got $15 an hour, and we all working together. Let my son do his thing. We do our thing. We put our
Hmm.
money up for everybody, and then everybody eat. You understand what I'm saying? It's this is
I
just
feel
goofy.
like
This
that's
is
how you fix that's how you fix the black community going forward. We can't do it now because it's like the mindset of society for black people is like show out, buy this, buy that. Yo, you got some big rims. Yo, you going every girl gonna get you now. And
going
like,
broke trying to stunt.
yeah. So like, and the funny thing is, what's the only people who think that way was black pimps and hoes? A pimp say, hey, I'm gonna get all these girls together. We're gonna stay in one house and we finna make all the money. Over time, they branch off, but like, hey, bro, if he do it right, yo, he got a big house. It's like, I'm done right now. I'm finna settle down. I mean, who else does that? I mean, there's no other people who does that. I mean, Haitians do it. I mean, but Haitians get influenced by Americans. Oh, I'm just going to leave. I get my own place. Jamaicans do it, but the Jamaican women hate the Jamaican man. So like they're suffering between they got cultural issues. Like I mean I only been with Jamaican women, so like they have issues. They have issues when it comes to that. Then you have like American issues. The American issue is we just all don't like each other. We want to leave. So we turn 18, leave. Your sister left, I left. I mean, my parents were like, "Hey, if you're in college, you can stay. If you got a job, you can stay. We're not gonna
Yeah,
force
like
you out."
if you're doing
Yeah.
something, you can stay. You just can't sit on your ass and do nothing.
Yeah, they don't like that. My dad be coming home like, "Hey, bro, I want you. If I come home, that game better not be on. I've been working 12-hour shifts, construction."
And see that I can understand. That I can
Yeah.
understand. That's why I said I really don't agree with the whole throwing him out right out the gate. If he let him build a foundation with what he got. Now, if he's not
Hmm.
doing anything to build a foundation, he can't freeload in the house. I completely understand that. But if he's in school or if he's
Hmm.
when I graduated high school, I had two jobs and I was working full time. I
Hmm.
had I was working full time at a sneaker store. Then I was working part time at the clothing store in the same mall. Like I would punch out from one place and walk around the corner to the other place and then
Hmm.
finish out the day. So I'm pulling 12s at 19. You know what I'm saying? Plus I'm in school from 7 to 9 every day and taking Saturday classes. You understand what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So I can understand not doing nothing and thinking that you're just gonna stay at home and live there forever.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, Let me stack my bread and I'll break you off what I need to break you off just for the penance of being able to live under your roof after I'm grown, because legally you don't have to take care of me. And then once I
Mm-hmm.
build my foundation, I'll go on about my business and you will never see me again
Mm-hmm.
unless I come back to visit. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I really don't agree with the whole. When I grew up, I was told 18 in a day, and every other
Mm-hmm.
month, the dude my mom married tried to throw me out, even though I was doing what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that's and like I said this last week. My mom showed me just exactly how much a woman will put up just to have a man in the house to tell them that they love them. And I
Mm.
was a throwaway when I was worthless to
Mm.
them. And now later on in their lives, now that the motherfucker's dead, she want me to come around and save her. No,
We're that way.
I'm going to live my own life like you wanted me to. I'll check in every now and then, but I'm not your husband and I'm not going to act like it. Get out my face. You understand what I'm saying? And just because I came out of your body don't mean that I owe you nothing. If anything, you
Yeah.
owe me. So get out my face.
Man, I'm gonna divert to the comments for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure we keep our audience on point. Hey, thanks to everyone that's tuning in and watch the show. And
Hey Vic, I'm gonna pop back. I feel like I'm freezing on my end, so I'm gonna reset my camera.
okay, bro. And I want to bring up some comments, and I'm gonna bring my boy Troy up too, so we can kind of. Hey, to the audience, this is Mr. Troy Reddick. I'm gonna let him introduce himself before we get into the comments and everything.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Hey, I've been messing with Vic for a minute, following everything that he's been doing, making sure I support and respect other brothers out there in the field, and our intelligence meeting together and being able to share knowledge with other brothers. Yeah, I believe in bridging back and building and building a bridge for that gap that's between the generations, especially within Black men. But the idea that you guys are having the same conversation me and Vic probably had with ourselves and our friends 10 years ago before we even knew each other is very makes this time and this conversation very important for us and to us because it's kind of like we're watching two young men have a conversation that we had prior without having that conversation with each other, but we were aware that we ourselves were having that conversations with ourselves as well as the other men that were in our lives 10 years ago. So this is a back to future moment, inception, dream within a dream, and the ideology within ideology. And we would love to kind of help you brothers dissect everything you've already discussed, but I want to make sure we check out our comments. Joel is coming up first.
Yeah, appreciate that, Troy. So I'm not sure exactly what he was commenting on. We say you think the older generation is more rigid in their understanding. They could stand to be a bit more flexible. On the opposite side, the new generation is too flexible. I agree with that. What do you guys think? I'm gonna start with Troy since he late to the party. You know what I'm saying? Been backstage grilling and everything else.
Hey man, backstage getting these wings smoked out before I
Man,
smoke
it's
the 10th
Sunday,
out
man.
with
It's
some
got to be
coffee and
something on the
blunts.
grill. It's got to be
Oh
something
yeah.
on the grill.
Hey, right now it's in the oven, just warming up, man, getting ready for the family to come back and eat. But yeah, no, man. With regards to the conversation and the fluidity and the rigidity of the previous generations, it's very interesting for us to even have that conversation because why would we think we're more fluid than a previous or present and past generation? So the idea is that what are we doing? We're trying to find a way to get in tune with someone else. Men have a code, men have rules, men have approaches, men have honor, men have reasons why they work together and they sync up, and that's the social contract. So, understanding the social contracts exist, we have to engage and we have to have the approach, and then we have to make sure each other is heard. Now, if there are terms that we leave the agreement with, that would be great, but the social contract actually sets all of that up, right? There are men that you can do deals with, but the first time you engage with each other, you struck a nerve or you swung at a person, and that's how you engage and you met. The social contract can still be reached with men even after violence. The idea that we can agree and work together, man, it's amazing. So the concept of fluid generations and who's more rigid is just like, hey, who has the better game? Who has the better approach? Who's more open to more people? Who's going to have the greater network, right? I don't know how you guys see it, but that's kind of I look at the challenge of connecting with another brother that way every time. Even the cousins that I hate, right?
See, and that's what I meant. You actually go to their level, meaning you try to understand them so that way you can get in where you fit in instead of trying to force your way in like you got to do this and you got to do it because I'm old and I got experience. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the divide. That's the
Mhm.
divide right there.
And that's the sobering moment of humility because I'm looking at myself in the camera and I look at my grades. I'm like, 22, 23, I'll never be old. I don't even care if I live that long to be old. I'll be having this conversation with myself as myself at this present time, because why would I die? Why would I have mortality? All these things we have to consider in that social contract with another man. Because some of you guys may be suicidal, brother, and when we have a conversation with you, we have an exchange with you, we cannot be pulled into that type of death note. So that's part of it. That's why people resist each other.
That makes sense. Back to what you're saying. Why the rigidness from both? It's, you said the code, and that really makes sense. That's kind of the problem right there. We don't. Our younger generation, there is no code no more. We don't even know what the code is. So it's like y'all know the code. So how can you reach us? So now you got to teach us the code, and then we got to be humble also. So like we gotta be receptives, and you guys got to be like you guys got to receive us too, because there's still a little bit of stubbornness going on. Like man,
Mhm.
I ain't dealing with them cats, man. All they want to do is fight. So it's
Mhm.
like it's basically what you said. Like I was like, dang, that's the code. We don't know the code, so now we making up our own code, or we making up some stuff, and y'all like, hey, bro, you're doing it wrong. It's like this. So
I,
it's like,
I, just to that note about knowing the code, right, bro? I
mm,
got you. So, have you ever heard of a decoder ring?
no,
So a decoder ring would have a something on your ring, and you would twist it, and it would reveal certain things. There would be like a little clear red film, and you can see through it. So when you
mm,
move it over something else, it will give you a different image, right? It would decode what the trick was. The idea that when you use those 3D glasses at the movie theater,
mm,
like it's crossing over, and your eyes are looking through the red and the blue spectrum, right? That
mm,
red pill, that blue pill, that whole
mm,
concept, you're seeing both at the same time together because your eyes are both open, right? And they're coming
mm,
together, right? This sensor, what is the code? I think this is something, or this something is really something else.
mm,
It has to kind of converge at some point with your understanding. Your level of understanding, one has to meet two, and it has to make sense. So when you think of any code, you have to think about what codes you know. Boom.
mm,
Then you think about, hey, what codes do I also know? Because are they using this code or that code? See, that duality, that opportunity of choice is making you confused. It may confuse you, but you have had a way and already proved that you can
mm,
figure it out. You have figured out other codes. You figure out other sequences. We are literally going through this every time we engage and meet another brother. But yeah, there's a zeitgeist and a cultural spirit where me and Vic grew up at a certain time. You and the next man grew up at a certain time, and you are both exposed to that, no matter where you are at in the world. And that becomes this culture that connects us, right? And we all get to hold on to that culture. And as long as we're not pulling that away from anyone or pushing it onto someone, we can all hold as many possible. So this culture, this code, we wrestle around what it really is and what it really means. Is it hip hop? Is it Black America? Right? Is it Pan Africanist? That whole concept. We're trying to figure out what it is that keeps us connected. But the idea that you will have to figure out my code to interact with me is the code. You have to learn. You have to be willing to learn. We have to be right there working with each other and trying to teach each other. We may test you though, because that may be the way we learned it, and that may be the stage that we're at in our limited scope of the world, right? We may think we can see things and our minds are open, but we still only have a limited scope of the world. So this is our way of doing it. And that comes with grace. A young man may not be expecting to give so many people in the world grace because he went through the compensatory educational system and he's always have to pass a test and be someone that connects with others, right? Like, hey, jump this hoop, jump the next hoop. And so you're saying, I'd be damned if I'm about to have to jump this old brother's hoop who so-called already done did the dirt I done did and been through everything I've been through. He could just tell me what the code is and what that means and how we get there together. There hasn't been any together for any of us until now, this point in time, this conversation. We have missed all other opportunities in the spirit of time to connect with one another.
It had to get so bad that this is a last resort, and this should have been the first resort. This should have been where
Mhm.
we started. You
Yes, sir.
understand what I'm saying? This is why I'm so angry all the time, because it is simple. It is so simple. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm trying to understand how we missed the mark because it is so simple. Like we're not this dumb. Like and I'm saying it in general, like we're not this stupid.
No one is.
Right.
I learned how to play chess from a brother that was developmentally disabled, and his mental incapacities in social life were his genius in chess. So, mhm.
I'm gonna bring this piece up right here from Leandra Green. She got a couple of comments that kind of pair well with this particular comment. She said, "A piece of a man is better than no man at all." Mindset. I think that was probably tied to some of the commentary when you guys were talking about son husbands and related to men that's got a relationship with their mom that's pretty much going to this comment, which is emotional incest. Um, what do you guys got to contribute to that?
Like I said, man, when I left, it was like breaking up with a girl. And I'm not supposed to feel like that about my mom. Like I'm
What
not.
she mean by emotional incest, real quick?
It means that she was treating me as a son, but she was looking at me as a husband, or she was looking at me as a significant other. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I think emotional incest is. You looking at your child like they your significant other when that's your child. What is wrong with you? Go find you a man. Go find you a woman, and let that child be a child, and teach your child the lessons that you never. Try to find somebody to teach the child the lessons that you never got. If you can't teach it to him, if you a single mom, go find that boy some men that he could be around and that can teach him some stuff, because you can't do it. And it's not a question of competence, because we're not saying you're stupid. What we're saying is there are things that you just can't do because you just can't do it. It's not in your nature. You were not built like that. Get out of the way, move. And you girl dads out here, you girl dads are really starting to piss me off too. I said this before. A lot of these girl dads out here are not teaching their daughters discernment, they're teaching their daughters fear. They're teaching their daughters to fear men and to go get a bag and to go do all of these things and become them. They're teaching their daughters to become the kind of men that they want, but they still want them to go out and find a man and go wait at the finish line for a finished product. And they're not teaching them that because that's really what they want for their daughter. They're teaching their daughters that because they are afraid of karma. They're afraid of some dude talking their daughter out of their panties like they talk somebody's daughter out of their panties, which is how that child got here. This is goofy. I'm sorry, man. And this is why I'm so animated, passionate, and angry about it. Because I used to work in the system and I used to see how this stuff unfold on a regular basis. This is goofy.
I'm definitely hearing you talk about quantified value and how everyone in the stakeholders quantify their value, but they don't acknowledge the initial charger to add value to everyone else and not just take value from others that may be connected to them that they may have leverage over. The quantified value that we're seeking is a mutual beneficial one. The idea that you could offer me something, but you also could enrich my relationship with you, my engagement, the time I spend talking to you with some value on a regular basis is that quantified value. So my young brother here, I mean, I know you mentioned some of the relationships that you've seen and you are aware of from others as well. So, what would you value and what would you rate some of these things? And how would you think that they would come up with some kind of number to value those relationships that they have had with these mothers, whether being single or married mothers? Once again, the idea is that the relationship with that man in their life has a value. We know that. We know society places a value on it because they uh, ensure when the value doesn't exist. They ensure the value of the man in the household. and say that it has some value because this is what we're going to offer you while that man is not in the household,
When
while
she
that man is not working.
when she said like a piece of man is better than no man at all, I mean, I'm 50-50 on that because you have LeBron James and you have Future. One's the exception. But how often you get LeBron James? LeBron James like one in a million. Look how great he is in basketball. Look how great he is. They say he is as a parent. I mean, we're not gonna be oblivious to like the bad things that that humans go through. Like, oh, he did this, he did that. I'm not even gonna get into that because Future already doing what we think LeBron could be doing, like with the multiple baby mamas and all this other stuff. So like,
Nick Cannon.
yeah, Nick Canyon. So like everybody wants the LeBron, and LeBron comes from like the same thing that 80% of single parents go through. But like that's like the exception. You normally might get a feature in Nick Canyon, and so it's like that piece of man. Do you really want a piece of man? Because even though we all want LeBron, all the females do want LeBron. Do you really want a piece of man? I mean, in the female's eyes, I understand why you say yes, because nobody wants to be alone. We don't want to be alone too. That's why we choose who we choose. We might choose a poor female. I mean poor. I mean like the bottom of the barrel type females, the ones who just money hungry, the ones who are like promiscuous. We might choose an average female, and like they're more balanced. Or we might choose a masculine female. I mean, it's all a reflection on us. But like, do you want a piece of woman or you want a whole woman? I mean, it goes both ways. It really goes both ways. I mean, I disagree with it because like I know what a piece of man look like, and like I
As do
agree with
I.
it. I agree with it because I know nobody wants to be alone. You gotta have something. I mean, Future. What the Future does have that LeBron has? He got the money. He can provide. And like I understand. She's like, I mean, pick your poison.
I personally wouldn't know what LeBron has or how he treats his woman
Yeah.
outside of the public. Their life may be a reflection of that, but I
Mhm.
don't get into idolatry and
Yeah.
iconoclasts like LeBron who make people choose different sides to respect them from. I don't see that man, so I wouldn't compare him to a future. I see LeBron and I would compare him to Frederick Douglass. You
Yeah.
know, what path is he really creating? You can't tell me that he's a billion-dollar entity and he's had a huge impact on culture and sports worldwide, and you don't compare him to the magnitude of someone like a Frederick Douglass. Not a future. We won't have that, but we know what they see and what they have presently to view may be a certain type of man. And the idea is, even if women aren't raised to look at those type of men in particular, they see men, and those men see those other men. So now they're getting a piece of someone who wants to be like LeBron and somebody who wants to be like Future. So they're getting the super fraction. You know what I'm saying? They're getting the Satoshi. They want a Bitcoin, but they're getting the Satoshi. And how many shares of their Satoshi they're gonna get? Just know that a Satoshi is only a share of a singular Bitcoin. So you're never gonna get a man if a man is a Bitcoin, right? But the idea if the man has a marketplace and he has a market value and where he starts is not where he finishes, the idea that that baby and embryo is priceless to many, right? So the man as a 40-year-old, as a 20-year-old, as a 10-year-old isn't seen the same way. Because I can say Tamir Rice, I can say LeBron James, right? I can say all of these people whose lives aren't necessarily valued in the same way a man is. So when that woman wants a piece of a man, she already understands that she's getting a Satoshi. And it's always that. This is her saying, this is honesty. This is what real looks like for us. How men feel about what real looks like for women and describing that isn't necessarily needed. So now we're in the conversation about what her words mean to men and not what men mean to each other.
All right, I'm gonna take a stab at this right here. I think like all of the points that you guys were making and what you agree on is all like to me a slice of the bigger picture. I think the a piece of man is better than no man at all mindset. is more about the self-discipline of the woman. I think like there's some women that will settle for male attention at the expense of their children. I think that that's what this is. This is about, like you guys already follow my content when I talk about the difference between being sexually disciplined and sexually undisciplined, right? A woman with this mindset is probably sexually undisciplined, meaning that like she will sacrifice basic things that you would think a responsible adult will do. Those things become negotiable when it comes down to male attention. So I think that that's key to point out when it comes down to it, because the product, the story that you got to tell is the product of the behavior that you were raised by. You wouldn't have the story you got unless you had someone to marshal you into it. You didn't grow of course you grew up, but like there was a large part of your life that you weren't responsible for yourself.
100% agree with everything you just said, bro.
Yeah, like for real. Like you are taking the veil off of everything that you had to, act right behind. Because like in general, children are raised where they don't know every single thing, right? And they have to be told what to do. I think every responsible adult looks at their life like, I need somebody to come tell me what to do at some point, right? And how you accept that comes in different phases in your life. Yeah, when you're young, you don't know any better than foresight. You're gonna make a lot of emotional decisions. You're gonna make a lot of rebellious decisions. You're gonna make decisions without a lot of foresight. You know what I'm saying? And in those young years where your perception of what's right and what's wrong is easily shaped and manipulated, imagine being raised by an adult that is only looking for individual selfish sexual gratification. So what kind of decisions do you expect that person to make? Can they do what they're doing legally? Yes, but at what cost? And I think that that's what this mindset is about. It's about the behavior of the person that's a parent and how they feel about their obligation to set an example for their child. Anybody disagree with that?
I
So,
I agree with it. But, like just to add, which is like a piece of man better, no man at all. I was thinking when y'all said y'all explanation, I feel like that mindset. I mean, even the comment, what's the source of it? Why is that? Why is that a saying in her eyes? Like, for example, like the background, was she in a stable background? Was it a single parent background? Did she see, like, okay, my grandparents, her grandparents, let's say her grandparents were married, or if she said like her parents were married, and then things didn't turn out for the parents, or let's say the grandparents were successful, it just were different with the parents, and now she's been born, so like she obviously seen a man. So like I see, like, cause like what he said, like balance and polarity, like we see it from our eyes, the masculine side, and the feminine side. We have to understand it, but we have to like even say like this. The comment is emotional, so now we have to translate that to a logical sense, so we all can understand. So I'm just trying to understand.
okay, so let me break it down to you. All right.
Yeah.
So there's some women out there that's starved for male
Hmm.
attention, and they already have children.
Hmm.
They don't shift their focus to the child. They think they can still have it all. They think they can still have the wide variety of their sexual love life and be a competent parent when it's only one of them that's obligated to raising a child.
Yeah, and I, and,
So
I, and I agree with that.
so at the expense of the child, that mother, if she's still emotionally selfish, she'll go pursue like male attention, you know what I'm saying, to a detriment. We're not saying you can't do it,
Hmm.
but just because you can doesn't mean you should. And in this is why, like, the key word on here is it's a mindset, right?
Hmm.
Is that mindset disciplined or undisciplined in your opinion?
In my opinion, that would be undisciplined. Most
That's my
likely
point.
undisciplined. Yeah.
And that's my point. So if it's undisciplined and it involves a relationship, it's closer to being sexually undisciplined than it is being sexually disciplined. Because the only reason that a mother would be looking to bring male attention for a relationship at the expense of her child is because she values her sexual gratification more than she values her maternal responsibility to her child. You can't have it both ways. You can't get both. You got to leave something on the field, especially when it's only one of you. You see what I'm saying? So this mindset is it's not new. It just hasn't been captured and spoken amongst men in a way where it was credible, because men have to share experiences so they can relate to the opposite side of this reality. Because they're on this other side of the conversation, women are saying something to the effect of, girl, it don't matter how many kids you got, the right man gonna come along and he gonna take care of you and your kids. He gonna love them the same way,
Which is a bold-faced lie.
which is a lie.
I
Which
agree.
is not,
I do
Unless
agree with
those
that. I
children are
agree
an
with
which
that.
is not
asset to
true.
that man, it's a bold-faced lie.
Yeah, like when
I
you
agree.
hear
Especially
mindset,
nowadays, there are entire movements telling men to avoid women with children at all costs.
yep. Like reality is this, man. You can have all these different mindset coaches. You can have all of these different names that people want to call each other. But when you start talking about human beings and at the decision making point of making a choice, you're either going to make a disciplined decision or an undisciplined decision. One is going to be with information or without. Some of them can be with information and still choose the wrong thing, because you can still make mistakes. But the ability to make the right choice and still making a wrong decision shows that you desire something emotionally that was emotionally selfish at the expense of somebody else. Because if you had a choice, that means something is getting compromised somewhere. There's a trade-off. You know what I mean? So if you already got kids and you don't have, you know what I'm saying, a good relationship, good co-parenting relationship, and then now you're trying to bring in another man into your relationship where you already have a child that's dependent on you, the child's still not feeling, like embraced by their own parent. Because before you even worked on me, or worked on your kid, or whoever the child is in this particular scenario,
So,
you brought in another man.
question.
Yeah.
So, it's not really a monkey wrench. So, what should the woman do? Because, like I said, I come from my background is kind of like I've seen the balance. So, my thing is this. I feel like okay, it's the man's fault. He has to fix the woman, and then he has to fix the children. And then when I say it's the female fault, my fault with females, I feel like the female should have chose better from the beginning. But then let's say like she gets with the man. I mean, not even say she gets with the man. What should the female do in a situation when she's like, okay, I don't want to be alone? That means that's like I feel like that's a like okay, that's a human choice. Nobody wants to be alone, and then it's a choice she makes. Like, okay, I need somebody to raise these kids and somebody to help me. And like you said, me, I mean, everybody nowadays been told you don't want to do that. If you do that, you're gonna find out the hard way. And then the third one is this like okay, the undisciplined ones like okay, I need a girls be like oh I need to find a man. I want to do this. They leave the kids home with the mom. That's a bad choice too. That's just, she want to have fun. That's like fear of missing out. She want to be young again. So like we know that
Okay.
choice. What should a
So
female? What's the right way she should go along with this?
so
Because
check this out. Like number one, this is my personal belief, and as far as the philosophy of what accountable masculinity is about, men hold themselves to a higher standard sexually than women do, because you can't hold women to a standard if you don't have one. All right. So what we think is right is only our utopia. Okay. Putting out into the world what we think is right is what is our perfect scenario. So what we think a woman should be doing is only going to be based off of male leadership. So what they're doing is opposite to what we're discussing. You know what I'm saying? Which is why we got the questions. So if I had to offer my opinion on what I think a woman should do, number one, they shouldn't be having unprotected sex with the wrong men. Like all of our problems really come from people low-level learners reproducing with low-level learners. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Because typically there's nothing about sex that's special unless it's involved in the conception of a child under a marriage, generally speaking, with the intent to make a family. There's some people that do this without any of these other, like parameters on the, on the union in itself. And those group of people are either disciplined or undisciplined. So when it boils down to, like, ask your questions back again, like you just said, but think about them. If the person's undisciplined, where did they learn that decision making? Mm-hmm. Because we're not responsible for what decisions they made out here. That's the roof that's the roof from under which they learned it, and then they're trying to apply it to the regular world. So they come out with these lofty expectations, like everybody's getting in line to take care of their kids, but that's how they was raised, because they was raised with multiple stepdaddies, multiple uncles. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't related. Because the truth of the matter is, there was a lot of promiscuous women that made children. That's just really what it was. And then there was a lot of promiscuous men that helped them make the children. And if you sit back and you look at the architecture of that and you ask the right questions, I guarantee you most of the men and the women that come from those situations were raised by single mothers. The promiscuous men and the promiscuous women are generally raised by women.
Mm-hmm. And that's how the cycle gets repeated. I asked that question because, like, the female, just because there are females in this the stream, they were like, okay, so what about if I just want somebody and the other side? And I understand the other side of things is very undisciplined. Or the female looking for a man just to have a stepdad, that's undisciplined. Because men don't want to do that. And then she's looking just for fear of missing out, leave my kids at home, go have fun. That's undisciplined.
Well, so and here's the other thing too, like to add on to that, the lack of discipline. When you lack discipline, right, it's because you're not immersed in facts. Mm-hmm. When you lack discipline, you lean on your emotions. So, subjectively speaking, these women that have been in emotional relationships that ended up producing a child, they were right from within, but they weren't taught what's supposed to protect them in order for them to actually, fully appreciate the moment that they're in. So a lot of times they have a child in the middle of their struggle. So what you think you're going to pass your kid down? Nothing but struggle. Mm-hmm. So.
And that's why I said, like, that's why I said it's kind of hard. It's kind of like rough to say that. I say, like, I blame the man. I blame the man when he had a chance in the beginning to fix this issue, and then you left it to the woman. So now when you leave it to the woman, guess what happens? Everything falls apart. And it's supposed to be balanced.
And here's where I add on that, though. This is why I said before, like, you got to look at this thing like a family tree, right?
Yeah.
We got a single mother at the top. This is the sexually undisciplined family tree hierarchy, pretty much, right? You got the mom that has both a son and a daughter, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about the pregnant daughter right now that's already had their kid, Mm-hmm. The opposite of it is like, well, who got her pregnant? Obviously, it was a man, right?
Yeah.
The man that got her pregnant and that identified this particular woman that he could relate to. Do you think that this man is more than likely raised by his father or raised by another single mother?
Another single mom.
Okay, so what's the man's perception of reality, women, and himself as a man if he's raised by his mother?
Very low vibrational. Very low bright.
Or at a minimum, only able to connect with someone that's been raised similar to him, right? People from two-parent households probably could get in a relationship with some of these people. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how they raised. They probably could. They probably got access to each other. But is the probability higher for them, or is the probability higher for somebody else that's raised in the same type of household?
Same type. I'm going through that right now. Same type.
So if we went with the 80-20 rule, 80% of these women that's becoming teen moms are usually raised by teen moms, and they're usually going to reproduce with men that spot out women that are younger. So this is why you can't really sit back, like, until you have this moment that I'm talking about, like the split in the mindset of being undisciplined versus disciplined. You're going to have way more hypothetical conversations about somebody else's, behavior if you can't relate to them.
Mhm.
But the men and the women that keep connecting with each other, that have these long extended arguments about who chose to lay down with who, those people typically come from the same type of tree. So this is why, yet again, sexually disciplined men are the only men of value, because they the only ones that can set standards, code, and protocol. And the things that we can't understand, we let those things do what they're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Until you have new information, you can't really make disciplined decisions. This is why I say people live in their feelings until they meet the facts.
Mhm.
Like right now, we're discussing the facts because you guys were living in your feelings. You know what I'm saying? Or either observing people living in their feelings, making mistakes. People don't really make successful decisions when they live in their feelings. That's just the truth. So, you know, this is where we have to break it down and synthesize all these different experiences. You know what I'm saying? That's why I let you guys talk at length, because I wanted to make sure that you said what you observed. Chris told you what he experienced. Troy told you, you know, like what his responsibility is and where he sees things that needs to get controlled and fixed and whatever. And you get to field whatever questions you need to field to men of, you know what I'm saying, of a certain demographic that's older than you, because you're 29. You need this the most. And then other men our age need to see that it's being done. But generally speaking, adopt this now. If I had to give you any advice right now, make a disciplined decision or an undisciplined decision. Both have consequences, both have outcomes. You're not perfect, but you're going to have a better chance at recovering from a bad decision if you're disciplined already, because you're not perfect. But if you make the same decision, same undisciplined decision as an undisciplined mindset person, your path to recovery is going to be much different. Can you agree with that or disagree? Does that kind of make sense to how you would approach, you know what I'm saying? Like, because one of the main things you got to do is decide which things deserve your attention.
Mhm.
This is very important. There's a lot of stuff that don't deserve your attention, bro.
I agree with that. I agree
Shaking
with
his
that.
head right now. He already know, you know.
I agree with it.
Yep. Let me get on down into the comments. Let's see. It's one thing to have fun. It's another thing to neglect parental responsibilities as well as continue undisciplined behavior. Like that's exactly, and that shout out to Jessica Fields. You know what I'm saying? She's always moving the conversation along. Prime example. Everybody has a choice. That's what this is saying. When people make certain decisions, it's not on you to go back and correct them. Because I heard you mention something previous, like, you know what I'm saying, when a man tries to correct them, or if, you know, pardon me if I'm stating it poorly or whatever, but men cannot, this is the way I look at it, right? Are women not independent enough to solve their own problems?
Yeah, they should be. They're adults. I mean, they should
Right.
be.
Come on. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, you can't be independent and unprotected. So, like,
Accountability.
unburden yourself from trying to correct, you know what I'm saying, people that want to make struggle decisions. Let's see here. Katie, she always come with some heat. See, this is why I said this, right? Check this out. No matter what a man is doing, a woman is responsible for her womb. There are women that understand this is a disciplined woman's conversation right here. You see what I'm saying? You've seen the conversations where it's been about womb integrity in so many words, right? And then you'll come on and you'll hear women blaming men for women getting pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll always see one woman that comes in and she says something like this, and it's because it's coming from a disciplined mindset, and it's a reminder that there are women that actually care about who they are attracted to. Some women don't, which goes back to what Leandra said earlier. A piece of a man is better than no man at all.
Mhm.
This is the difference, because ultimately, whoever you connect with it has the opportunity to produce life if it's the opposite sex. So it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? You see angry people make babies.
That's funny.
Let's see here. You know, this is see what else is Katie teaching? She says, I teach women you must align with what gets you wet with what's good to you and for you is not a passive act. You see what I'm saying? She's being deliberate. You know what I'm saying? Like when men, we have to have conversations with y'all. Like, hey man, quit running around with that pink thing out.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see a pit bull hit and just dead on the highway? You like, why is there a dog on the highway? Right? Because he was running around with that pink thing out. it's, it's really that simple, you know. So, Troy, you want to come up and feel this right here, or not?
Well, yeah, nothing needed the field right there, man. I mean, she stated it plain and made it simple, and identify a oriented object and make it, be focused on what you're really doing and not actually acting like it happens to you. That pink thing sometimes catch them out there, though.
that pink thing is crazy.
It's gonna get there. Sometimes it's gonna get
there. That pink thing will wake you up and have you outside for no reason.
I'm out there. We've been up.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. So here, let's see, my friend Leandra. Let's see what she got. See, I'm a divorcee with 2 kids by my ex-husband. I knew I was not having any more children. I grew up with both parents, and I needed my children to have my foundation at the very least. See that right there? You know how like I feel like women carry too many burdens. I think there's a lot of divorced women that are lumped in with the behaviors of sexually undisciplined single women that are also mothers. And most women that have been married and divorced are carrying their lives as if they're a single parent. Yeah, but by structure, I get it, but it's not the same thing, because most women that have been divorced have a better chance at getting remarried than a woman that's never been married with a whole bunch of kids by some other dudes. You know what I'm saying? So the foundational discipline that comes with what a person would look for in a wife is usually found in a woman that has a father. And that's just it. You know what I'm saying? This is how this sexually undisciplined tree works. The sexually disciplined men and women are generally raised in 2-parent households. They got a family structure around them. They got some uncles over here. They got some grandfathers over here. Some aunts that sprinkled in as also wives that either married out of the family, married into the family, and there's a safe space to grow what would be a nuclear infrastructure for family, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot more prevalent in a 2-parent household than it is in a single-parent household. So when you grow up in a 2-parent household and you got a bunch of first cousins because you got a bunch of uncles and stuff, you really get introduced to your first set of friends. But if you're in a single-parent household, where your cousins at?
Yeah.
Where your first cousins at if you're in a single-parent household?
In the same house with you.
Always around.
Because you had to take on your sister's kids because the sister on drugs or she done got put out. You know what I'm saying? There's another generation that's not really getting specifically talked about, because we got a generation raised by women, right? What about the generation of men that's raised by grandmothers?
I mean, it's the same thing. Grandmother, mother.
No, it's a little bit different. Come on, Troy. Troy know exactly what I'm talking about.
Not all matriarchs are matriarchs.
That's just it.
That's true. I used to live across the street from my grandmother. So I was with my mom used to be a truck driver. So I lived across the street from my grandmother. So I was always with her. And then when my mom got the job with the county and I was with my mom, that's when everything changed. Like literally everything changed. Like, when I was living under my grandmother's roof, she actually treated me like a kid. You know what I'm saying? She actually treated me like I was a kid. But I don't even want to get into that. But fellas, I gotta head out. I got a phone call and I have some things that I have to attend to. It was a pleasure conversing with all of you. I hope to do this again because I believe that we still have a lot to unpack, and I like the fact that we're all talking and we're all receptive to each other and we ain't arguing. Like we're actually trying to find a common ground to this nonsense. So I appreciate this, man, for real. I do.
Hey man, I'm
But
glad that you was available for it, man. Chris, I always appreciate your input. Glad you felt comfortable sharing, and you know what I'm saying. And we'll be in contact, man. But we're gonna
yeah,
keep it going,
yeah.
and
Well, I'll
we're
call you.
gonna
I'll call
revisit
you this
this.
week.
Yes, sir.
I'll call you this week.
All right, bro.
Fellas, it was great. Y'all be
Yep.
good.
Me and half code. Yeah. So the um the
Bring that
nature.
comment back up though.
What comment? What comment you want me to pull back up? The
The last one. She's an ex-husband.
oh yeah, yeah,
Question.
yeah. She's a divorcee. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question for y'all. Like
Okay, go ahead.
divorcees from y'all experience, because y'all older than me. Like people who get divorced. What do you think their background more comprised of?
Uh, in my observation, most times that I've seen people divorced, I think it's I'm a firm like I've been divorced before,
Mm-hmm.
and from a man's perspective, I'll just say that that first marriage is a doozy.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on, you know what I'm saying, how much time was committed to it, you know. Like if you got somebody that's been divorced, you know what I'm saying, they was only married for, you know, less than 2 years, then you know you have to use that on a case by case basis. You know what I'm saying? I think you have to talk to a wider pool of people that's been divorced, and you know, listen to what kind of binds, like listen to 5 different divorced people talk and see
Mm-hmm.
what the common theme is. Because if you talk to one person, and especially if it's the opposite sex, you don't know what that person's motive might be. Because why they even,
I
you know what I'm
really
saying?
because they say women initiate divorce the most. I mean, so
Yeah,
I
like
really don't believe in like they call that unreconcilable differences. I'm like,
yeah.
that
Well,
just
well, well. Here's some things, right? Like you
yeah.
brought up about like the single mothers that have 80% of their sons that are, you know what I'm saying, raised by women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that 80% also applies to the divorce rate too,
Mm-hmm.
where we say 80% of women, well, women file for divorce 80% of the time under irreconcilable differences. And if you
Mm-hmm.
keep following these numbers, it's kind of hard to overlook how they kind of like intertwine. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna necessarily make every connection right now that I know I can make, because it
Mm-hmm.
would take an extensive amount of conversation to do so. But I also just like I believe it's a lot of frivolous divorces out there. Um, there's a lot of numbers that are so strange that they actually could be true. Because if the numbers are so low on one end that they have to be used to debunk somebody else's reality, right? Then sometimes the inflated number might tell you another story too. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you make all your decisions solely based off of numbers, that's one thing. You can still be somewhat successful, but you're gonna miss some experiences, you know.
Yeah,
So it's like you know, stats don't tell everything about a player, right?
that's true.
Only outcomes do. So like you might go into an area where 80% of the people are failing, but that's the difference in you becoming, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the difference between you having refined enough skills and enough uh, personal wherewithal to get what you want no matter what. See, I believe that the majority of men that fail in marriage are not masculine. I believe the majority of women that fail in marriage are not feminine. So that's a huge, you know what I'm saying, element that doesn't get discussed. If you look at a majority of these divorces from the woman's stat line, and if you interviewed them out of 100, how many of them would you say are feminine? Yeah,
Hey,
exactly. You see what I'm
um,
saying? So
yeah,
that so 80% of divorces might be filed by women, but I believe less than 20% of the women that file for divorce are probably feminine.
I mean
So
that actually is true because I remember saying like it's like I don't really get into it, but like one dude like he's like, hey, I mean a lot of women they marry like a safe option and they don't marry the dude they want, and like then the dude be like, hey man, I married this girl. She was one way before the marriage. She was another way after the marriage. I mean, so it's like, what's really going on? I'm not married, so I wouldn't know. So like, I'm just like, hey, it's like, hey, what I keep my eyes open? What I have to keep my eyes open? What I gotta look for? But like,
yeah,
the point
I,
was though. I mean, the point was, I mean, like, when she say she knew she wasn't having no more kids, she grew up with both parents. I needed my children to have a foundation at the very least. I mean, is she looking for kids? I mean, is she looking for a new relationship? I mean, how old her kids are, when she
I,
have her kids. I mean, stuff like that.
yeah, I would say in her situation, just based on what she's explaining,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter what she says after this because
Yeah.
she already knows what she wants. She was already married.
Hmm.
Then she had two kids by her ex-husband. So that in itself says, I'm not giving myself to nobody that I'm not married to.
Hmm.
You
And I
see what I'm
mean,
saying? And so that's a disciplined mindset off the top. But when you watch Paternity Court, do you see
yeah,
disciplined people up there?
no, they're all undisciplined.
Oh, he liked me, so I had his baby.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like they moving in with each other 10 days later. You
Yeah, that's
know,
crazy.
when you watch reality TV, do you see the products of two-parent households or do you see single-parent households?
A single parent.
That's my point. So, like, there are live graphic depictions, whether they be scripted or not. You can't go convince me to go on, like, Maury Povich to tell me a secret.
That's
But
crazy right there.
yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like I'm telling you, there are things that you could just see that, like, if you got a dad, he not gonna tell you the wrong thing to do because he gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah,
Like your dad gonna give you advice as if he was still gonna be responsible for your mistake,
yeah,
but he gonna kind of like guide you through it. Like, hey, you could do this, but this is what happens if you make this decision. He can give you an alternative reality. See, men are supposed to reflect consequence. And just like you talked about before, when you scrape your knee and your mom's supposed to come pick you up and you're supposed to scream for your mama, that's what that is.
hmm,
That's all that connection is. It's like help me. You know what I'm saying? In the worst case scenario, right? But your dad's supposed to take you out, be with you, show you how to do man stuff. It's supposed to be like a level of man training. He's supposed to show you how to, you know what I'm saying, like start a fire. You know what I'm saying? Do primitive survival stuff
hmm.
to avoid 30-year-old men that don't know how to change a tire, don't know what to put air in a tire. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Putting oil in the antifreeze. You know what I'm
yeah, that's
saying?
sad.
You think about the conversations that you started off with and think about how they got there. And then think about the mothers. You know what I'm saying? Like the minute that you're talking about a man that doesn't know how to do something, you're either talking about him being raised by a lazy man or no man at all.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and responsibilities, and then they're usually disciplined and they obligated by their business. You know what I'm saying? They got stuff to do, and they don't have time for chasing vagina. Are the men that typically choose women that are already prime candidates to be single mothers because they already come from single mothers.
Hmm.
Like a disciplined man will go kick it with a woman that is raised by her mother. But if she already got kids, the probability of him committing to her when he's already seen what a nuclear family looks like when a man and a woman together, he's already seen a reality that she can't even understand.
I agree with
You
that.
know what I'm saying? Especially if the man comes from good stock. If he comes from good stock and like once that girl or whatever woman it is that you have sees your father and then she makes those connections like, oh man, his daddy was, you know what I'm saying, like A1 in this area and I see the same qualities in his son that I'm dating, she's either gonna get down or lay down. But the
And
minute that she compete,
here's
then
the
that's
funny thing too. You said that. I'm sorry. Women are naturally
keep it.
attracted to women are attracted to successful relationships because, like, from experience, like last relationships I have a good background. Like I said, my parents been married 30 plus years. Like, no, I mean, it was different it was very, very different from like my friend's background. So like, since women are attracted to successful relationships, like it's kind of funny. Like you kind of wonder, like, how did they end up? How did they end up a single parent?
because they live in their feelings. That's what I'm. That's exactly what I'm talking
It's
about.
just
When you
funny.
ask that question,
Yeah.
that lets you know how fickle human energy actually is, right? Up until the time that you get new information and mentorship and you accept it, right? You've been making decisions off of your ego. You've been making decisions off emotions. You've been
Hmm.
making decisions off of what you saw somebody else do and fail at, thinking that you can do something better. You've been in unhealthy competitions, going back and forth with people that have none of what you have to do what even they talking about doing.
Hmm.
And then that's when you realize you arguing below your aptitude. You arguing with low level learners, man. You know what I'm saying? And then you start making disciplined decisions. And then you start seeing that all of us aren't the same. And a lot of people that think they're like you become your rivals, but you don't
Hmm.
know it. And you don't know why. And I'm telling you right now, that major gap, you having a father is part of that gap. That's why you're experiencing these other men as your age
Yeah.
having such a disconnect with reality, having such a disconnect with what true sovereignty is. Like women champion independence as women, right?
Hmm.
Men champion sovereignty. Because when you sovereign, you don't have to advertise that you're independent.
Yeah.
People feel it coming off of you. They sit back and they say, "Damn, how you get everything he want?" They have way more questions, and
Yeah.
then you have less to say. And then next thing you know, they coming to you for guidance because they see that you're sovereign. They don't see that you're getting this piece from here, this piece from there. They don't see all of the
Yeah.
mentorship. Like mentorship makes you sovereign. Independent just means you know where to go get what you're looking for, and then you can hold it up and dance about it. You know what I'm saying? Which is really insecure when you think about it.
Hmm. And that's funny thing. That's how people get tricked. You like, I feel like people get tricked on like, oh, that's an independent man. I like, I was like, what's an independent man? Like,
Yeah,
you don't hear that
you
a
a
lot.
man or you're not. You know what I'm
You know,
saying? Like, what is
like,
that?
what's that? I mean, we men judge men as how much freedom or how much stuff you got. I mean, not like I'm not in a materialistic mindset. We're like, hey, bro, they're we like, yo, that man right there, he got him booming. That man got his own business. He got this. He got a big house. And we kind of like automatically know like he got something going on. And like we want to reflect. Like we want to reflect men who are in a prime are like powerful, wise men. We want to reflect that. So like I don't really get into like, oh, when I see like on the street level, like, hey, this man, he got a big like rims and stuff. I'm like, he's just getting money. I mean, you kind of know where you get it from, like independent stuff. I don't really pay attention to that. I look at men like who are more successful men, and then that's when I start asking questions like, "Hey, like, what do you do? Like, are you in the stock market? Things like this." And a woman get tricked easily when they see like flashing men or more materialistic men if they grew up like you said earlier, like people grow up in a single parent household
Yeah. So
and like
stop right there. Like
yeah,
think about all those things you explaining.
hmm
Do they fit in an undisciplined mindset or a disciplined mindset?
yeah, it'd be undisciplined and then
Now
that's a
where
thing
does it?
right there.
Now after you say it's undisciplined,
Yeah,
then you look at the person, right?
yeah,
And then you say, how was that person raised? And 9 times out of 10, they was raised without their father.
yeah. And women get tricked so easy when they see a dude who's like on their P's and Q's. But what if he had an undisciplined background and
Mm-hmm.
like and it's like it doesn't matter where he at in life. If his background was undisciplined, I mean he might still be making undisciplined choices. Then someone like y'all,
That that
it's like how do we fix this? How do we
well,
fix this?
I tell you what fixing it looks like.
Hmm.
is let them cannibalize each other.
Mm.
You can't fix the women because those women don't want you either. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like those women, they might be attracted to you. They may they may be able to get some of your attention, but you'll never feel you'll never have the true desire to cuff them,
Mm-hmm.
to wife them, to build families with them because you already seen her mama. You already know she ain't got no daddy. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it doesn't mean she can't change. I'm just saying that 80% of the time, if you're dealing with somebody else over on that side of the tracks, you're not you're not gonna get out of it what you expect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost guaranteed. It's really higher than 80%, but for conservative conversation's sake, I think it's safe to say 80% of the time um, you're not gonna get the best situation because you're not relatable as you think you are. You really operating in lust. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You really operating on your feelings. Anything feelings driven ain't nothing but lust because you can make that up. You can look at somebody and decide that they're gonna be exactly what you want them to be for what you need them to be. You know what I'm saying? But then when you start looking at the day-to-day logistics of what it takes to be in communication with a certain type of person, you like, yo, we just don't have we got some communication gaps. And then they fill in the communication gaps with their
Mm-hmm.
emotions and they doubt and their insecurities that really come from them not doing the work on themselves to even be in a relationship, which goes back to when Chris was on earlier and
Mm-hmm.
what Leandra said, talking about having a piece of man is better than no man at all as an entire mindset. That's why all of that is sexually undisciplined behavior. Disciplined men are sitting down, talking and getting feedback from disciplined women in the comments right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling us exactly, you know what I'm saying, what they can confirm from their own personal experience based off of what we're talking about. Where the undisciplined women at? They don't come to stuff like this.
Yeah.
Undisciplined women are somewhere arguing in the Kevin Samuels group right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the truth because the people that are disciplined are focused on solving problems because they got to exist in this world just like we do. And they know that. And they know it's easier to exist in a world where you know where your strengths and weaknesses are. You know, disciplined men know the difference. That's just it. Disciplined women know the difference too. Disciplined women are the only feminine women.
Mm-hmm.
Disciplined women are the only feminine women. And most of the undisciplined women come from undisciplined women. And they're generally not going to be feminine. Let me move on to Katie's question. She says she's a divorcee. He still made me the woman that I am today. We polarize each other into more actualized versions of each other who hold each other in high regard, but we understand we are rare. That's a they don't they don't hit any other notes to me other than a disciplined mindset. That's
Mm-hmm.
self-awareness. That's recognizing the value that they added to somebody else and also recognizing the value that somebody else brought to them that improved them. Generally speaking, disciplined people leave the
Mm-hmm.
other person they were with better than they found them. That's important too to know. So, like when you start talking about divorcees and what's going on, and they got kids, you need to see, you know what I'm saying, what happened to the other side. You can't just leave that piece out. History matters.
Yeah.
Let's
The
see.
only thing I'm getting, I mean, my only thing is this. She mentors women, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's the so I'm like it's just like single people trying to give married people or people in a couple advice. So now she's a divorcee. So I'm like, just it's just a lot of things you kind of look out for.
Well,
She just disciplined because she was married and the man married the woman she is today. And like you said earlier, I mean, you said something. Dang, I'm trying to remember. You said something about like like how women choose. If she's was like she has a certain attitude or come into a situation. So, I mean, I'm gonna
it'll
get
come back.
back to that.
Yeah,
It'll come back. It'll come back.
it'll come back. Yeah, no,
It's,
don't
yeah,
make an
no,
error with it.
yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. When you do not have shared values, those things need to be properly vetted. I like that she said properly vetted,
Mm,
not discussed. because people know how to pass interviews.
You believe in when they say opposites attract?
I think there should be healthy polarity.
Yeah, 'cause I don't believe opposites attract.
Well,
I mean,
they do. That's what healthy polarity is. It's just
yeah.
a sexy way to say it. Meaning, like, you can't be. There's a difference between opposites attracting
Hmm.
and then generally just being diametrically opposed.
Yeah,
All the time.
like North Pole, South Pole.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the
Yeah,
difference? The difference is North and South.
yeah,
What's similarities is both poles. So it's like,
yeah. Like what I mean by
mhm,
the best way I can explain it is that opposites attracting, right? Some
mhm,
places you're gonna have more empathy on, and some
yeah,
places you're gonna have more sympathy on because you didn't have the actual experience, but you can recognize that it was a significant experience to the other person. You might not have been like, let's just say, you know, somebody that was in a car accident
mhm,
and you watch them recover. You have sympathy for their situation. If you've never been in an accident like that, then your empathy is limited. Doesn't mean that you don't have any empathy,
yeah.
but
I
and
feel like,
then it's also the difference between if you saw somebody you know versus somebody you didn't dealing with the
mhm,
same thing. The person you know, you're gonna be more connected with them because you empathize with them. The person you don't know that you said, "Oh man, that's too bad," sympathize.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So that's what that is right there. And I think when it comes down to listening, right? When we talk, that's what this whole podcast is about, is
mhm,
listening to different generations speak. I think a lot of times people miss opportunities when they talking to when they try to dismiss people that have been married and divorced.
mhm,
And you listening to somebody that's never been married, who was raised by somebody that ain't never been married, who was raised by somebody that never even committed to them. They are further from
mhm,
being able to give credible advice than I believe that somebody that's been there and done that. You know what I'm saying? It don't even
mhm.
matter how many times they did it. You weren't able to do it one time. Like you want to
Makes
listen
sense.
to somebody that never made the playoffs?
No, you right.
Yeah, like you come on. Like, do you want to listen to somebody that never left their zip code talk about what it is to travel over the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's why like people that ain't never been married really need to be quiet. If like I like for real, like what can you talk to somebody about? You know what I'm saying? We respect people off of where they go, especially if they deliver, you know what I'm saying, respectful communication about what they should and should not find. What they experienced. But the minute that somebody try to call your resume to the table when you're talking about a 2+2 conversation,
Hmm.
it's better to have experience on your side than to have never experienced at all. So shared values are very important. You know,
And that,
um,
the shared value thing. I mean, that's how that get tricky for women. Like just let's just say the man did grow up and with a single mom, and like she let's say they have shared values, but then she values a masculine man, and it's just something if he can't be masculine, and like that's how it gets tricky for her. Now let's say they share other values, and guess how long will that relationship last? Like it's just that's and like I believe I put a post on Facebook. I said like women should vet a man if they have his father in their life or not, or like mentors or uncles. And I said that there's a lot of pushback. A lot of men be like, "Oh no, it don't really matter." I come with this and I come with that. Oh, man, yeah, but you do. But
the men that push
what if
back,
she value family? And family is usually male, female, and children.
yeah, the men that's gonna push back on something like that are generally
Yeah.
raised without their dads.
See.
No man is gonna push back on something like that if he got a father. If he got respectful, like we talking about a healthy relationship with his dad, ain't no man gonna push back on that. A man that's got a healthy relationship with his dad is generally gonna agree with that. That's why, like, you got to think about it. Women that have connection with their fathers are
Mm,
getting information from their father about which man is good for them. Because dad is looking at it like, if my daughter choose wrong or my son choose wrong, how am I
mm,
going to support them? What is it going to cost me? Well, you know what I'm saying? Whether it be time, money, or whatever else, because parents never stop being responsible for their children, no matter how old they get in some areas. You know what I'm saying? Whether they choose to act on that responsibility or not is something else. But you got to think the woman that you want or that you hope to be in a relationship with, you would hope that she has a good relationship with her father, so she would have better respect for communication with you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got a man that says none of that is important, what's the likelihood that he's gonna meet this woman and meet her father's approval if she has a respectful relationship with her father?
It's gonna fail 9 times
It's gonna
out of 10.
fail, right? So let's just skip all of that together, and like this is why I say the people with kids need to date people with kids. The people without kids need to.
I agree with that.
Need to only date people that don't have any kids. And then if you break it down again, and you break down like by who relationship has a better chance with or without the father, if you got your dad, you better go with a woman that's got their father.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you got to have a better success rate just off of that in general. You know what I'm saying? Because when you start choosing women that don't have a father and you got yours, that's going to be a dynamic event at some point. It's just going to happen unless she done just came in and said, hey, look, I didn't grow up with a father, don't know what it is to be with a man. You know what I'm saying? Just lay all the cards out. Just understand that. What do you think the probability of that is?
It ain't work out no matter how long it lasts.
Because probability versus possibility, right? Is it possible that a woman can walk up to you and say, hey, look, I didn't grow up with no father. You know what I'm saying? My mom can only teach me so much about men because she was, whatever her dating and relationship history was. I'm ready to submit to your leadership because I trust you. What is the probability of that actually happening?
I mean, they ain't going to say that.
Yeah, they're not going to say it.
Also, that puts me in a sticky situation because now I'm thinking.
Now you got to make some decisions.
Yeah, she looking for her dad. What's she really looking for?
What's she looking for?
Yeah, so I'm like, you don't want to do it.
And this part too has to be considered by men, which is why I say men have to be held to men have to hold themselves individually at a higher level of accountability if they're going to lead.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be in the lead with the accountability of your woman. That's weird. You can't be in the lead with the accountability of your children, or the level of responsibility and accountability of a child, or the person that you're leading, or whatever that looks like. So if you don't have somebody that can respect leadership, why throw that on your plate? Why? You know what I'm saying? Like if you can voice your grievances with your mother about what you expect from her and what you need from her and constantly demand from her in a healthy way, in a respectful way. Now imagine having to basically spoon feed what the lessons of respect that your mother already taught you to a woman that don't respect men because you ain't never been around them.
It makes my job so much harder.
Yeah, you signing up to be a therapist in so many words. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? For things that you didn't do.
Make it too hard.
Man, yeah, way too hard. This stuff ain't easy, man. Let's see here. What else we got in here? Even though we didn't work, blah, blah, blah. Man, y'all got some good comments, man. Some real good comments. Let's see here. Boom. There are married people I wouldn't follow across the street. Husbands send me their wives. I help women surrender to their husband. A calling is a calling. You see what I'm saying? Like, we can't do that. We, like you said earlier in the conversation, like, how do you get this woman, and I'm paraphrasing, to adopt, you know what I'm saying, your leadership in so many words, right? If she ain't never been around a man, then she can't. Her path to doing so is different than yours. You know what I'm saying? And that's why this conversation is so important, because there's some things that your dad just can't teach you either.
You're right.
Because like if your pops was that dude, like if you that dude, your pops was that dude. So he was out there wilding.
I mean, if I say like it takes I understand what she said. Married people she wouldn't follow. Husbands send me their wives. I need help. Women surrender their husbands. I mean, which is women surrender. That like you said, I feel like that's an undisciplined husband. Then he married his quote unquote trophy wife. You know how those act.
Yeah, but that's one side of it though. But we
Yeah,
got a lot of wild dudes.
wild dudes.
Yeah, that was, you know what I'm saying, dropping mixtapes and you know what I'm saying, and moving a quarter brick of yay in the same conversation, but they got to go pick up their sons and daughters from daycare. You know what I'm saying? And they got a 9 to 5. They were doing too much.
Too many hats on at one time.
Yeah. So like now we at this spot where we only doing what we can afford to do, and they ain't got nothing to do with money. It's about your sanity at this point. You know what I'm saying? And out of the emotional dynamic in a relationship, the woman is going to be the one that, you know what I'm saying, that harnesses her emotions differently than a man. You know what I'm saying? So the emotional labor and the trauma that comes with undisciplined decision making lingers on women differently than it lingers on men. It doesn't mean it's less. It just lingers on them differently. So eventually, like you said, like Katie has this work that she does, you know what I'm saying, where she helps women. They have to unburden themselves off of, you know what I'm saying, what happened, because they might have watched their man change right in front of them and not do nothing that he was doing 20 years ago, but she can't let it go.
Yeah, you're right.
So again, this is why men have to hurry up and unburden themselves from undisciplined behavior once they recognize like it was not useful, because you can't forgive nobody when you undisciplined. Right. Understand that. And you can't expect forgiveness from hurt people.
Hurt people.
And that's the cycle of it. You see what I'm saying? So like we have to make better decisions off of what we can control versus influence. Not looking at people and judging and saying, "Oh, that person's broken." Like, no, they're just not for you. And it might just be not right now. Whatever that looks like on that person. But you still can only have the relationship that your personal accountability affords you, and it don't have nothing to do with money. So if you undisciplined and you don't have no boundaries, you're gonna end up with a bunch of kids by the wrong women.
And that's why I said like men gotta fix this. I mean, like the leadership comes from the man. I mean, we gotta turn this all around. We gotta give control back to the man. Could we leave it up to the woman? They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna fall back on what they know, the emotional side of things.
Yep. So my man Marcus got me here from the fellas now. Marcus Gotts, he said, this explains so much about problems with fatherless women in my life. I had my dad, and the dynamic is just understood to me. The therapist aspect is real. Yeah. Like your dad, like truthfully, your dad's supposed to be like your first therapist. He's supposed to be like a non-verbal therapist. And then the minute he has to become verbal is because you kind of stupid. Because on some part he like letting you, like, I know he gonna bump his head. Let's see if he gonna get himself back up. Keep bumping it again. Then on the third time, hey, before you get a concussion, put this hard hat on, and then try it again. Because maybe you just need a little bit more protection. Because you're probably doing something that's gonna hurt anyway. But he gotta let you do it. And whether that's an idealized, you know what I'm saying, mindset or whatever, I know plenty of men that's got their dads. And they fathers always come back to them later on in life, say, hey, I was worried for a second, but I knew you pulled through on whatever it was. They saw whatever it was they had going on and couldn't get them out of it, you know, because he run around with that pink thing out.
I mean, I feel like when they say that, all men have to go through that regardless. I mean,
yeah,
it creates, put it this way, when a man's like sexually motivated it should be a phase, but he can't stay like that. So I would never ever tell a man, hey man, like bag as many women you can, like forget about it, go live. I mean, have fun till you fall out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never tell a man keep doing that. I feel like he gonna go through that phase anyway. I mean, I would say, hey, stay protected. I mean, use discretion. I mean, if you don't, I mean, I I gave a dude advice like that one time. My mistake was, guess what? He was raised by a single mom, and he kind of messed that advice up.
I'm trying to tell you, dog.
So
Like
like,
they got their own obstacles. You got
I have a respect for women, but it's through it's by doing what I said. Like, hey, just run through them. I mean, it sounds messed up out of masculine side of things. Like a female looking at it, why would you tell the guy to do that? Because now he can deviate and like, okay, I know she's like this. I know this type of female. I know this type of female. A dude can say, man, I messed this one up. It was my fault. And like he becomes disciplined when he's navigating throughout this lifetime by dealing with different kind of females.
yeah. I think what it boils down to is that
Hmm.
are you operating in malice?
Yeah.
If you're not operating in malice, it's just what come with the game. You know what I'm saying? If you operating in malice and you out here being a menace, you probably already undisciplined. You see what I'm saying? Like it's really that easy to see. You know, when you see what a person values, you can kind of tell how they was raised. You ain't got to be 100%, but you probably in the ballpark. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like, and that's what I'm talking about. Like the men that understand how to manipulate women out of malice are generally raised by women
Hmm.
because they've seen too much. They've seen both sides. They know what it is to be a man in a woman's world and see the women and how they operate with men.
Hmm.
And that's going to trigger different outcomes. That's going to trigger different behaviors and interactions, right? The same way you carry yourself in the world is based off of the relationships that you've cultivated with your father
Hmm.
and your uncles. And that allows you to see your siblings, which are sisters, differently. And then you see your mom differently. You interact with women based off of how that is being modeled to you. Because
Hmm.
every woman is somebody's sister, niece, aunt, mother, or something. You know what I'm saying?
And it brings a different level. That's why
Yes.
like it brings a different level of interaction with females. Like now you're like, okay, I know this female cut from this. She cut from this kind of cloth. I can't I can't use a certain kind of game to talk to this female. This girl right here,
She got
she
a
got a
daddy.
she got a
If she got
daddy.
a daddy, you got to talk to her different. If
Yeah,
she ain't got a daddy, you know what I'm saying? She uncovered.
yeah, she don't got a dad. I feel like, man, I can say the dumbest stuff and it works, and I'll be surprised sometimes. Like, how does dumb stuff works?
Because you
Like,
29.
so it's
Because
like,
you 29.
and my dad tells me things like this, like, hey man, like it's gonna be easy sometimes. Some of these females they don't want. So the most craziest thing my dad told me when with his advice by like from independent woman. He said there are some women out there. Amber alert.
Oh man, look, they don't want you to say that. They gonna get you up out of there.
There's
Hey, it's some dudes that's an Amber Alert. You see what I'm saying? That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's a lot of dudes out there that's Amber Alert material.
crazy. My dad told me like, hey, there are some women that's just not gonna want you. Like I said, what do you mean by that? They just won't want you. I said, why? You got too much going for yourself. That you got your own place, you got your own this, you got own that. They ain't gonna mess with you. They want somebody they can control. I like that don't make no sense though. I mean,
It does.
I mean,
Like,
to me,
like,
I was young, so I didn't understand it.
right.
So,
But then
so
when you start seeing it, when you start talking about your homeless
yeah.
homies and they've been raised by their mama,
Hmm.
and a lot of those dudes are the dudes that your dad was talking about that are that they those are the dudes that want to be controlled but won't ever say it.
Yeah, like Yeah, he's like, women want to control dudes. I'm like, oh no, they can't control
Yeah.
me.
No, they can't control you because
Yeah.
you, man, fathers give their sons and daughters a different type of sovereignty than what they mothers talk about independence.
Mm-hmm.
Fathers give sovereignty without using the word because you watch your father make moves around your mother's emotions all the time,
Mm-hmm.
around the emotions of his own kids, and still maintain, you know what I'm saying, like whatever he got to maintain, you know what I'm saying? Like sovereignty is for countries.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like independence is for people trying to break away from the country that's sovereign.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
And
saying? And they still need the resources.
that puts a whole different mindset and like definition of independence. It feel now I'm understanding like wait, independence is not quote unquote, not that good then. Like
Well, no, it has limitations. Like
yeah,
this is
limitations. Yeah.
like this is the world is imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't perfect. Therefore, every situation is imperfect. You could be independent, but there are imperfect parts to your independence.
Mm-hmm.
Independence is a choice. You know what I'm saying? On you get to go make a decision, but you live with the consequences. That's what independence is. Independence is a mindset of not seeking someone's approval before you make a decision. Sovereignty is that the decision's already made. You already know what it is. When people have to ask you permission to do something, you've already established sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
Interdependence is when you are dependent on each other within the relationship in a healthy way. You got mesh points. You got things that you have to do together and things that you completely respect the boundaries on that you do separate. Codependency is when you in like you could easily become codependent in a healthy way. Interdependence is like healthy codependency. You know what I'm saying? But most people, when they talk about codependency, they talking about it in an unhealthy way. You know what I'm saying? Like can't do anything without this person. That's why a lot of women champion independence because they had to break away from their mothers who was controlling to them first. And that generally happens more on the undisciplined side of the single mother side. You see what I'm saying? Because there are a lot of narcissists. If you got a single mother relationship with, you know what I'm saying, with a daughter involved, one of them people is a narcissist. That's just it, because somebody has to find a way to assert control. And in the absence of a father, then someone's going to assert control based on what they understand about the situation. You see what I mean? So that's where the aspect of, like, I like to talk about being masculine as being sovereign.
Understandable.
You don't need nobody's approval. You already accept somebody gonna be mad at you, and it ain't your job to go back and correct them. It ain't your job to go back and give them a class on what they don't understand. The world, when you hear people say the world doesn't owe you understand, I'm pretty sure everybody's dad told them that. Ain't nobody coming to save you. All that's rooted in being sovereign. So in general, men are a country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And women are truly tourists with a visa. Now, you have to ask yourself, like, you haven't traveled a whole lot, like you said, you want to do more, right?
Mm-hmm.
But have you ever been to like a non-English speaking grocery store?
Yeah.
Okay, you typically know how to go. Like, everybody been to a Mexican grocery store before, right? And you live in Florida, so it's a lot of stuff in Spanish down there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spanish, Haitian, I mean,
Yeah, whatever.
Spanish the most.
Yeah, French Creole, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you can go into any one of them stores and get what you want out of them, right? Because you can look at the tag, kind of make your discernment about the currency, you know what I'm saying, the cost of things, get in and get out. You know what I'm saying? You go to you say you know enough Spanish in this scenario to say gracias, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, right? And you go there all the time. Been going there for years. What happened? Tell me about that same experience in that grocery store if you spoke Spanish.
It'll be way better.
Be way better, right?
Yeah.
Women know how to shop with men, but they don't know how to speak our language.
Mm-hmm.
The feminine women do. So most women that you're going to engage with at your age is going to be transactional, because all they know how to do is get what they want and spend money.
Mm-hmm.
You coming in with a visionary mindset because you got goals, hopes, dreams, and whatever plan that you already got to operate in the world with. So your job is to regulate your feelings because you're already operating logically. She's already operating in her feelings, and she's trying to bring logic to her feelings. You possess the logic, but she gets logic from you transactionally. Until you make some sort of exclusive commitment to her, she ain't entitled to learn your language until she says, hey, teach me your language by her behavior. Like you going in and out of that grocery store, they're not going to tell you that you need to learn Spanish so you have a better shopping experience. They just want your money. Same thing. The exact same thing. So this is why I say men are sovereign, because you have to be your own country. You can't be masculine on somebody else's resources. So, man, we about to get ready to wrap up, man. This was a good conversation. I think we should do this some more. Hey, to everybody that's watching, I greatly appreciate you for tuning in. Drop a 1 in the comments if you enjoyed this conversation, and leave us some feedback on what more you would like to see. Zach, what you got going on, man? What can we
The connection. Hold on. I have a connection issues. Can
did you hear me?
you repeat that? I can hear you now.
Did I glitch out?
Yeah, you glitched out.
Okay. Hey, yeah. We get ready to wrap up the show. I just want to give you a chance to speak to the audience and tell them where they can find you, and include them in on what type of products you offer or services or anything of that nature.
As of now, I'm just you're gonna see me more on this podcast of now. So I'm just getting things setting up. I'm pretty young, so like I look at Victor as like a mentor figure right now. So he's getting me on task. So I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I got a whole bunch of things going on. I don't. So I'm just getting things set up. I mean, like he got me back into like finishing a book I'm trying to write. So like, I mean, when that's about finished, I mean, maybe hopefully I can promote that on this stream. Other than that, it's just there's things I want to do as far as like mentoring more younger kids. I mean, getting men talking. I mean, so hopefully I'll be here more and talk to you guys. And as of that, I mean, that's about it as of now.
Word. Well, man, I'm glad that you was able to make it. Hey, to everybody else that follows the podcast, I see you on Wednesday morning at 8:00 Central Time for the Cold Talk Coffee and Blunts morning show, and I'll see you on Wednesday evening on the same time, or the same day rather, for the Solutions Only podcast. And with that being said, we out.
Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and hit the like button and follow. Please leave your feedback in the comments. Make sure you hit up the super chat, leave a donation to support the platform. Your chick make you mad, my chick make me a sandwich. Your chick make you mad, my chick make me a sandwich. Go cop the shirt, visit the merch store, shop with Accountable Masculinity, and support the platform. Men have hope.